Slicky Boy, please give it up for Milton Washington.
All right. A frigid wind rushed hard from the Hudson down my Harlem streets like sandpaper at the noses and the ears of the dozen brown faces that huddled at the bus stop. An older black man stood away from the rest of us just below the iconic Michigan Pharmacy sign that jutted out over the snow-covered sidewalk. Tall and distinguished like a dying breed of Harlem's graying statesmen, he stood with his mustache and chin high. I thought he might have owned the place. "Excuse me, sir, is Michigan's yours?" I asked, pointing up to the rusted blue neon sign that stood almost as tall as the 5-story building. His body jerked with a hiccup of contempt. "I wish it was, but them damn Koreans done got to it already." Koreans. Just like black folks say police. And then he was off and running, speaking with the kind of candor that only comes within light company. An older black man passing on what's what to the world to a younger one. I validated his indignity with some humor. "I should have known," I said with a slow shake of my head like my grandmother used to do to express resignation. "First they get the dry cleaners and then the delis and the soul food joints, and now they got our pharmacies too? It's getting out of hand," I laughed. "It's like they're the new Jews or something." Jews stick to real estate. They ain't trying to be all up in your face. But Koreans, they taking that dollar from our black hands to their yellow hands and nasty as all hell doing so. Especially they women. He said as if he had a bad taste in his mouth. "Oh yeah?" I asked, with questioning eyes encouraging him for an explanation. "Yes, sir. That Korean man's wife is the damn devil. Treat black folks like we ain't shit," he said with a curled lip. "Sound like you might have had a couple of run-ins with her," I said, baiting him for more. "It ain't just me she got a problem with. She got a problem with anybody black." We went back and forth in agreement to how those Koreans can be amongst the most racist of all the Asians. He spoke with good observation and authority because of his experiences went well beyond the businesses of Harlem. They went all the way back to his days as a Marine in the Korean War. He explained how the men were quiet in their objection to the American presence, caring only about the therapeutic U.S. dollar. But the women, protective of their culture like a pack of lionesses in a pride. "You can't hide hate in the eyes," he said, tapping a gloved finger on the temple of his head. And as we clutched straps on the Bronx-bound bus, he continued about the women of Korea. "Those women hated us. They cursed us, spat at our feet, and called us all kind of names we couldn't understand. And after all these years, all I remember of their language is hello, thank you, and that word that I heard just about every day from those women. They were for nigger. Gum dinging." Wow. Gum dinging. As he spoke, I thought about the famous image of Little Rock desegregating their schools. The one from 1957 with Elizabeth Eckford, a black girl in the foreground walking in a skirt, studishly holding a notebook in her arm with grief in her face and courage in her stride. The backdrop is lined with the Army National Guard wielding rifles and batons as white students milled about in an angry air reminiscent of a lynching. Directly behind Elizabeth, 3 white mothers followed with scowls of disdain targeted at the young girl. The shortest mother, captured with her mouth wide open, probably yelling the common words of hate for that time and place. Nigger. Nigger. Gum dinging. Gum dinging. I guess the old Harlem black man was right, because you can see hate in those eyes. He's awfully perceptive because that's exactly how the men of women of South Korea were. The men indifferent and resigned, while the women acrimonious and vile at the intrusive Americans, especially the black Americans. I know exactly what he's talking about because I remember that hatred in a way that no historian or geopolitical expert can ever know. I know not because I make weekly trips to Manhattan's Koreatown or have Korean friends. It's not because I make my house guests take off their shoes or put kimchi on my pizza and eggs. I know because Korea is where I was born. First language, first culture, first mother. She, a resilient and loving mother who so happened to be a prostitute, forced by her country and the U.S. military to choose the color of the soldiers that she'd serve. Her choice to be exclusively with black soldiers made her a threefold outcast: prostitute, lover of black men, and a mother of a black child. So I guess that makes me a bit like Elizabeth Eckford, surrounded by the angst, contempt, and the hate of a majority. But with my majority not being a community or a region of the country, but the entire country. One that never claimed me with a birth certificate or citizenship. So when I told the man on the bus who I really was, a black boy born to a Kitchan or Camptown prostitute in South Korea, who roamed his town with a pack of homeless kids, fighting, stealing, and drinking while his mother worked long hours, he was taken aback. When I explained that one day during a temporary stay at an orphanage, I stowed away into the lives of a black army family from Texas, he became physically shaken. And when I told him about the memoir I was writing, a compelling story of isolation and identity, but most of all, a story of love. The love of two mothers that insulates that boy caught in between two worlds for the rest of his wonderful life. He had questions. Adopted from Korea, huh? The man asked. Yup, I was 8. How about your birth mother? Have you seen her since? He asked, looking into my eyes, almost as if he was searching for more than just an answer. No. The last time that I saw her was the day after she dropped me off at the orphanage. She hugged me tight and whispered in my ear and told me to be strong. That's a powerful story, young man, that needs to be told. A lot of my partners from the service left little kids over there just like you, and ain't nobody talking about them. God bless you, young man, and get that story out, he commanded, shaking a finger at me. A lot of my partners from the service left little kids over there just like you. Those words. I've always wondered about the stories of the soldiers who left children behind, seeds planted in such charred grounds. Who were these men? How were they able to live their lives knowing that they left children to grow in such inhospitable lands? As questions thumped in my head like the reggaeton beats of the Dominican minivans rolling by, I find myself revisiting the elder man's features. The glimmers of his still athletic body under his trench, athletic like mine. His rich, dark, earthly skin that could have hailed from the Carolinas, perfect stock to mix with the hue of a Korean woman to produce my special blend of brown with reddish undertones. And how about that anger that singed every word? Was it simply the kind of anger that many of us black men mature into like white hairs of a beard? Or was it something more, deeper, and profound? Maybe it was the rage of a long-held secret, hidden from spouse, child, and friends. The kind of secret that makes a man give up his liquor cold turkey because of the drunken leak of that secret on a hazy night with fellow vets. And what if it's the variety of secret that comes packed full of visuals, the kind you can't shake with work or a hobby, or constantly scrolling in your head as you lay for sleep, causing guilty pains to your conscience, and an ever-present malaise in the eyes that no smile can hide. Because behind that false cheer is knowledge of a wide-faced, eager-eyed, hopeful little boy left behind, reaching, screaming, yearning for his unknown father, his old father. That's the kind of secret that can weigh on a man to eternal anger. As the bus hissed into my stop, I found myself almost regretting opening the exchange with the old man and eager to disengage. Sometimes you do have to be careful what you ask for, especially here in New York. His name, I thought. What if? I wondered as I tightened my grip on the hanging strap. I found myself hesitant by the idea to ask for his name. Did I really want to know? I've been known to have strange but fortunate luck. What if shared a name. Yes, sir, I will. I'll get that book out ASAP, I shot back, and we shook hands, and I exited the bus just a few stops from where we had started. Then a shiver ran down my spine, nudging my regret of not asking for the man's name aside, replaced by another fear that shook me even deeper to my core. Am I really trying to dig and excavate my past for full display of the world? I wonder. What about my mother? I recently discovered that she's alive at 86, and in 1998 migrated to the States with her 3 Korean daughters who were born in 55, 56, and 65. What if she'd like to leave those stories of her life in Korea buried and out of sight from her current world? How would my Korean sisters react if my story makes it big, maybe even making it to the big screen as I recount such mature topics implicating our mother in a through the blissfully innocent eyes of a child? And how about her health at 86? Could she handle my truth? So what about me? What if I discovered that by writing this book, there's so much more to my stories, parts redacted by my heart out of necessity, buried deep in the psyche like drums of uranium in the hills? What if splinters of those memories arranged in exercise logic were realigned into a more caustic sequence, landing me in a padded room or swan dive off of a bridge? You see, my foundation and strength is derived from one simple idea. I survived a dramatic and even traumatic life with my emotions intact because I was a child that knew I was loved. First by my biological mother, my own mother, and then by the woman that was instrumental in my adoption, the wife of Captain Don L. Washington, my angel, Milton Washington. But what if? What if my memories are self-preserving, drastically altered, and deeply departed from reality? What if? What if my mother didn't actually love me the way that I thought she had? What if? Thank you.